The Regional Adaptation Collaborative Program was proposed by NRCan. It's essentially 6 separate regional funding programs. There's Atlantic, Quebec, Ontario, Prairies, BC, and the Northern RAC. Each of them has their own specific portfolio of projects that they're undertaking to increase climate resilience in communities and or protect their citizenry. Honestly, Atlantic Canada is highly focused on coastal issues, sea level rise, erosion, what is really important to our region. For instance, the prairies are working on watershed flooding through the river systems that run through the 3 provinces, how that impacts on agricultural land. BC and Quebec have a significant interest in the forestry aspects of climate change, how that's going to change the vegetation and the productivity of their forests. So there, across the country, there is a significant variety of projects. In our neck of the woods, we're focusing on coastal issues and inland flooding issues. And our objective is to, first of all, assess the risk, identify vulnerabilities, and make the decision makers aware of where the vulnerabilities exist, and help them, provide them with the tools and the understanding that will allow them to make decisions that will protect the community or the infrastructure or valuable assets against the effects of more extreme weather, more frequent extreme weather. I was going to say, that's just give you a background on some of these pictures here. In terms of our breakdown, we're addressing the various issues in a number of, well, it's categorized in certain areas. Number 1 area would be coastal risk and vulnerability, and this is just one little picture of Harley Beach after the December 2010 storm surge. We're also dealing with inland flooding, so whether it be river systems, etc. This one here is a picture of inland flooding at the Clyde River in Nova Scotia. We're also having to deal with the interaction between climate and infrastructure. So this is a particular area, or a picture of a roadway where a culvert washed out. I believe it's in Bear River. Another portion, well, it's not the sort of the investigative portion of our program, is to build capacity with practitioners. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but this is just a picture of a group in one of the communities, I believe in Newfoundland, that we're undergoing a process whereby the municipal officials were being mentored in how to assess community vulnerability and produce adaptation plans. And we're also, a separate distinct vein is the whole question of saltwater intrusion into groundwater aquifers. There's a number of communities that have made wells that at one point were situated well distant from a coastline that aren't so distant anymore. I don't know if you can interpret that picture, but that thing standing up in the middle, that's a well pipe. They used to be underground. I believe that's in Chignecte, PEI. So there's a prime example of why these things are important. A little bit about our organization. Once again, as I'm providing myself regional coordination through an organization called the Atlantic Climate Adaptation Solutions Association. Generally speaking, I'm an administration central coordination type position. Whereas you'll see it in each of the provinces, we have an operational team in place that deals and assists with completing each of these various projects. largely our projects are situated at the community level. There are some that are a little bit, take a broader viewpoint of issues in a province, but without these folks, some of them, as you know, who are here, it would be almost impossible to get the work done with the communities across the Atlantic provinces. Also, you should be aware that beyond that internal organization with the association, we have a huge number of partnerships. We're dealing with federal departments, and I just as soon as everybody did the introductions, I realized I forgot to put DFO in here, so there is some, my apologies. There may even be more federal partners. I think this is what I mean. Within each province, we're cross-cutting with the departments, looking at raising capacity beyond the departments of environment, or the leads on these projects, you know, into the departments of agricultural, transportation, natural resources. In terms of outreach to municipalities, we have included on our steering committee all 4 municipal associations from the 4 Atlantic provinces. We have numerous communities, certainly more than 20 and maybe higher than that, that are directly involved in pilot projects. We have partnerships, arrangements, and or contracts with virtually all the universities in, universities in the Maritimes, UNB, left them out. And we also include and will be working with engineers and planners in terms of building their capacity and their knowledge about climate change adaptation issues. Just to give you a flavor, and I won't go into too much detail here, there are a ton of projects going on in each individual province. It's difficult to classify them totally by location, but in certain circumstances, I can say, for instance, in Nova Scotia, you know, in Yarmouth, there is a project, a full-blown climate change adaptation assessment and planning initiative, but within that assessment, there are numerous components that make up that study and the eventual report or case study that will come out of it. But as you can see, we have a variety of projects, both coastal, inland, some to do with highly focused on slope erosion and stability, some that deal with flood risk in areas that are both tidal and deal with a high level of stormwater. Again, the saltwater intrusion modeling, there's actually a project or 2 in each province. And again, this information, if you know, if at some point you do want to find out more about any one of these projects, we do now have a website. I can give you that. It's pretty easy to remember. It's www.atlanticadaptation, all one word, .ca.
And you can get to it from our site too. You can go through go through the climate change thing, and we link to you.
And we've tried to organize it so that you can see it, you know, conceptually on a map where all the projects are, and that would lead you to. We've also classified them by what the main focus are, whether it's coastal or saltwater. Now I thought I'd give you a little bit of maybe more detail in project from each of the provinces. In the area of coastal, one of our main task orientations or areas of focus, PEI is undertaking, I believe it's an assessment of the entire coastline of PEI, geophysical, climate scenarios, storm surge, just assessing what the current, actually past, current, and future interaction will be between the land and water. Concept being that, you know, there's a lot of valuable real estate, both at risk of disappearing, shifting, or accreting. There's a lot of valuable properties there. And right now, excuse me, right now the regulatory framework is not deemed robust enough or broad enough to give both communities and developers adequate direction as to where you should build, where you shouldn't, or where you should be allowed to, and where you shouldn't. As you can see, we're at the point where we're now have calculated some historical erosion rates. I think in PEI they run back as far as 1930s and 1960s and 2000. Predictions of erosion and sea level interaction being extremely high, and also again by reviewing municipal regulations and policies, recognition that some work needs to be done in that area to protect this valuable real estate. In Grand Falls, this would be an example of an inland location where we're studying a very, well, both unique and a general sense. It's a river system. If you know Grand Falls, it's kind of set on a gorge, but there are certain, I think it's at the confluence of a number of river systems, and as you can see, it's quite clear in the picture, there's a number of houses and buildings at risk just to drop right off. So the study that's being undertaken is to assess the risk based on the geophysical factors and the predicted stormwater and river flow projections, and both give recommendations at the end for improving that stormwater management, addressing the bank stabilization, and dealing with providing the municipal officials and decision makers with the development policies that will allow them to make appropriate decisions regarding new developments and coastal or shoreline setbacks, etc. This one probably the most, would you say the most challenging project? It's huge in importance. It involves an assessment of the isthmus between Saco, New Brunswick, and Amherst, Nova Scotia. There's a huge amount of critical infrastructure there: rail systems, roads, power transmission, and I understand a wind farm just about to be constructed right on that, what essentially is a floodplain. That whole area is protected by dikes. The dikes at this point, I think, are already experiencing topping in times of extreme weather. And we have to assess, number one, what we anticipate the sea level rise will be, or the storm surges, and if indeed those occur, what kind of impacts that going to have on those key infrastructures, whether it be the rail lines or the roads or what have you. To say nothing of, at the end of the day, we would like to know, are the dikes that are there adequate? How can they be improved, rebuilt? I'm not sure exactly what would be the approach, but the concept is that those dikes need to be there and be able to handle the kind of climate change impacts that we expect over the